reference.
No more memes.
Totally
We're going
fine.
live. We're doing it live. Hello and welcome. Fuck your memes. Hi, I'm Joe Monday, and welcome to the dark times as we are all stuck indoors. This is another episode of wait a minute. Whoa. I just realized what happened.
He's using his tech stuff again.
We were talking about mixers later and how you're plugged into one, and
I got all the tools, man.
oh man, you've got like effects.
I know all the shortcuts.
Apply live, but who are we talking about, and why are we talking? This is RSF Radio. I don't know if I said the name of the show. This is the podcast where we talk about what's been going on. The front page of our Street Fighter and the FGC at large. I got AuraMistress online and Mordakae. What's happening?
Hi.
Nothing but shenanigans here. We've been locked down in this COVID pandemic. It's keeping things, I want to say interesting, but that's the exact opposite. So we've sort of been making our own fun here. Aura's got a bit of a history with TO and a bunch of tournaments, and I'm just a massive nerd with too much time on my hands.
Oh yeah, pretty much. I recruited him because he's good at what he does, and he's pretty much our stream monkey. And I'm like, hey, I can't do a lot of. I'm like, I can't do a lot of stream stuff. I definitely know how to organize and run things. So hey, you can definitely be of aid. And he's like, yes. So that's the story.
We have already
put. How he's here.
We have already put the cart before the horse. Well, I mean, he's just here to apparently cause havoc and make
That's what I do, really.
Yes, you know when you think things are a good idea and then you execute them and you're like, what the fuck have I unleashed to this world?
Have been made.
This, ladies and gentlemen, this.
As soon as I hit record, I knew immediately how this show was going to go. When these mics went,
all right, this is going to be like the most viewed one because I'm going to watch it about 1 million times.
Do not feed the Aussie troll. Do not feed the Aussie troll.
The energy.
You just love us Aussies.
The Australian community is like legitimate, and I kind of miss seeing. It's one of this. I haven't seen a lot from the Australian community lately. Although
that's because our
that's
internet
gonna
is
change.
shit.
All right, I'm for it. Okay, so what are we talking? Man, we really have put the cart before the horse on this one.
We got a bit ahead of ourselves there. So, hi, I'm Mordakae. We are here to introduce NetCode Combat to the internet.
No, shut up. No, enough. Enough. Before we talk, that's business time. Before we talk about business time, we have to talk about having fun time. So, this is the part of the show where in the introduction of the people who it's the first time on, I like to give you the opportunity to pitch what you have going on so people can't avoid it at the end of the show. So, Aura, you go first. Where can people find you, and what do you got going on? What's cooking?
So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Aura. I go by AuraMistress. I like to TO. I've been in the FGC since 2016, so I'm a fairly newcomer. And I'm definitely like plastic tier player. I suck. I'm gonna like let's get that out the bat, because you know that guys are gonna hit your DMs like, yo, ma, you want to run some sets? And I'm like, I'm just totally gonna be a disappointment. But anyway, I don't run sets, but I definitely run games. I'm currently
One can say you've DQ'd more people than you've knocked out of a tournament.
Oh, definitely. My boys know the DQ hammer is strong.
Okay.
So
sorry to interrupt.
no worries. Currently the Everything Street Fighter TO for Wednesday Night Fights Oakland. And obviously, there's a lot of people that are very familiar with Wednesday Night Fights Orange County, but we definitely have our own branch here in NorCal. So I'm responsible for everything Street Fighter related over there. I've also TO'd. I've been a bracket judge for Evo. I'm also like very active with First Attack, because I don't think I said it. I'm originally from Puerto Rico, and that was my introduction into the FGC. And First Attack is kind of like, I like to work closely with that one. It's my baby, and I'm primarily into Street Fighter, but I've worked a little bit with Soul Calibur. I do like a little bit of Tekken from time to time, so that's pretty much what I'm doing. Currently, I teamed up with Mordakae, whom I'm personally responsible, please forgive me, for bringing into the FGC. And we're working on a joint project called NetCode Combat, which is we're organizing 100% online events. So, Morty, do you want to introduce yourself?
I mean, I could. I don't think anyone else really wants that. But I am Mordakae. I Twitch stream. I'm a software engineer. That's sort of what got me out here to America. I've been here for about 6 months now. I have a fair bit of time on my hands with all this COVID stuff. And
yeah, you kind of joined us in the bad times.
It was not the best.
It was the best of times. Right? It was the worst of times.
No, it was just the worst of times. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I got my performance review today. It's pretty good times.
Sick. IT people are so valuable right now.
Oh, it's amazing. It's like working from home though. It's like, oh, how are you holding up? I'm like, I haven't left the house in 2 months and my life has not been materially impacted.
You know what his line has been for every fucking every fucking meeting he has? It's like, I've been preparing for this day my whole life. I'm so sick of it.
Time. From every one of them, they all laugh. How fucking dull are these people?
Oh, here's the real rub on that is that anyone who is coming to you to ask for tech advice doesn't know what the fuck anything is. Like, they're already so far removed from any kind of thing you might like talk about. Like, they don't know what jokes are. They're out there. They don't know. They don't know what's going on.
They got nothing.
And but I will say
that I told him.
This is not like my actual IRL job, but like people will come to me with tech problems because like, in my company, I'm like the young guy who knows the stuff.
Oh, you're good with that internet. Maybe you can help me with the Facebooks.
Have you tried turning it on and off again? Have you tried unplugging and plugging it?
But I mean, but like serious stuff. Like at its most basic, I taught someone who I would think like understands how to copy and paste, And
I'm
like,
gonna be honest, that's pretty much how I ended up in IT. And then I went from there to managing the IT for an engineering firm back home. And that was honestly, every day I spent there, I got less confident in the structural integrity of every single building I was inside, because these people like, oh, I've just made a change. Here is the detailed step-by-step guide. Guarantee 20 minutes later, it's not working, it's broken. It's like, okay, show me what you're doing. And they're like, I did this. I'm like, did you read the piece of paper that is still on your keyboard? Like, yeah, I totally did. It's like, okay, well, let's try it again.
Yeah, let's go step by step. You have to do every step, apparently.
Yeah, so that was a time. Glad I'm out of that. Moved into software now, and sort of between not streaming, I'm kind of taking a break from that, but between streaming, running the stream for all the Wednesday Night Fight Oakland, Wednesday Night Fights, and getting NetCode Combat off the ground, I'm building a bunch of platform agnostic streamer tools. So, Twitch, Mixer, Facebook, YouTube, they all work with all the stuff.
Keep the production machine entertained and good stuff will happen. So that's right. Just give him projects.
Got to keep me busy. If I get bored, things happen.
You mentioned that you're kind of new to FGC. Where were you prior to this? What was your?
Well, I'm a first-person shooter. That's all I play. That's where my skills lie. I hate fighting games. They just shit me. I'm learning. I'm trying to get my head around.
Here we go with the rant again. Oh God!
I'm not going to start the rant.
He said like 2 sentences, and you've already have him on the cross. Come on, man.
Yeah, speaking of interrupting, Aura. Jesus. It's a thing. I'm trying to get into it. It's never really been my jam, but at the same time, every single multiplayer game, every single opportunity for anyone to blame anything but themselves. NetCode, fucking NetCode. Oh my God, the lag, it's so bad. That's universal. Like first-person shooters, Call of Duty, Overwatch, whatever, doesn't matter. Fighting games are no different. So I take quite a lot of pride in reminding people that the best players can adapt to any situation. Yeah, that's
spoken from an entirely different genre. It's not just the NetCode. It's not just the hashtag 8 frames. Man,
I mean, to be fair, the same thing happens in MOBAs. Everybody's like, "Oh my God, my ping! Oh my God, it lagged!
It's so bad that totally should have worked." Like, dude, you've been playing this game for 20 minutes. You've had time to adjust to the lag.
Yeah.
What you shit.
From a production standpoint, and this is totally a side question, from a production standpoint, how are fighting games different from other genres, let's say, from like the first-person genre, where there's multiple perspectives you could be looking at, or anything like that?
Okay, so my biggest gripe. So I actually have a background in games design. That's what I got my degree in. I got myself an arts degree and ended up in programming. It's a fucking joke. So I got my background in 3D animation and video game design. Then the global financial crisis happened, and I felt like eating, so I went and got a real job. But my biggest gripe with fighting games is that they have such a, I suppose, there's such a fanatical following to them that changing certain things will just set off a grenade in the boat, right? Like someone's going to have a real bad time. It's not worth it. But then on the same token, it's such a competitive place that they have to keep it balanced. So they're always making changes. They're always tweaking things. And recently, because it was tilting me pretty hard, and I had a chat with Stop Sign recently, just before Wednesday Night Fights last night. And he made some really good points in that with all the balances and things, certain things just don't line up as well. So he mentioned specifically that one of Cammy's attacks, the actual animation looks to be longer than what the actual hitbox is. And that makes sense because the easiest way to fix the balance is to just adjust the hitbox. But then to anyone fresh coming into the game that doesn't understand this, we rely on the visual cues and they no longer match what's actually happening under the hood. And that is so incredibly frustrating, especially because you could just get a goddamn intern to come in and tweak the animations. But I digress.
Yeah. So just a quick interruption into that. It's really funny, like the way you describe it coming in from first-person shooters, because I'm really not a first-person shooter. I am more familiar with fighting games. So he would rant about these things and complain about the visual cues, and he'll try to like explain it to me. And sometimes I draw a blank because since I've been already immersed in the fighting game, I'm like, okay, so have you tried, this frame or this hitbox? And he goes like, it makes no sense, but to me, it makes sense. So it's kind of speaking two languages at the same time. And
it's one of those things that the fighting game community is so, like, it's been around a lot longer than the first-person shooter community, for one. And it's got a really passionate fan base, and they're all really passionate about their specific game. First-person shooters, yeah, everyone likes their game, but they'll go play other ones and they mix and match. There's that level of fanaticism just doesn't quite exist. So it's really interesting, and sort of exposing myself to those kind of people, it's a bit of a mind shift that I'm having to get into.
Well, I actually find it. I do find it interesting that you bring up the whole hitboxes don't match the animations, because that's something I have heard that argument before. Of it looks like it should, so why doesn't it? It passes right through, and what the fuck? And then just have to, just like you said, remind people that, oh, this has been happening since forever. Like, all of fighting games have this, where hitboxes are separate from what the animation looks like, and that's just how things have always been. So we, as a community, don't really ever question it. Well, we do, because it's fun to complain about things.
I would say more than question it, we just bitch about it.
Yes,
and that's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of like we take to Twitter, we do the responsible adult thing. We take to Twitter and we go, oh my God, I just hate it when this and this and that. And then you have like, or you have like some pro player that will say, I really hate this. And then you see the 20 comments in the bandwagon like, yeah, I totally hate it. And you've never heard that person complain in their lives until that moment.
You're giving people way too much credit. It's just lol, what the fuck, and then the video clip. Come on.
Yeah.
You know what it is. Yeah, that's all it is. That's the effort we're putting in.
I mean, depends.
Without going in and doing a full, like, uni degree on fucking frame data, I'm sitting here being like, what the fuck is happening? And that is empirically poor game design. The game might be fantastic, but that in itself is enough to get a failing grade in university, right? Just throwing it out there. Sort your shit.
Game. Never make a fighting game. It's way too hard.
Apparently not, right?
I've really lost. Again, as soon as I hit the record button, I knew exactly how this show was going to go. Motherfuckers.
You were kind of like warned the minute we started bantering, but
there was no warning. There was no warning. It just happened.
I had a list. I was going to go through the list.
All right. So what we're here to talk about, let's reel it back. Because you both have something in the works right now that is kind of like, is it necessarily your jumping off point, or have you run anything? Tell me about NetCode Combat.
So, I mean, we kind of had the idea or the discussion about NetCode Combat primarily because as you know, my experience in the FGC has been mostly just running like tournaments per se, like actual physical tournaments.
Right.
I have seen one or two online tournaments, but they're really not the focus of the community. The community likes their, brick and mortar, let's just go there and let's just have a good time, and the community looks forward to it. They'll travel, it's that moment where they like want to meet each other. However, we are in an era where internet connections are faster. We can use internet connections to play with people from all around the world. We have these advances and we're not really using them. And there have been a lot of opportunities to be able to develop online communities, but we don't. Until the situation of COVID-19, where we had to practice social distancing, where you could no longer travel. And now you see communities that are like, okay, so what now? People are stressing out. There's like, you saw a lot of locals that just simply vanished. Even some tournaments, like just long-standing tournaments, are in the possibility of like not returning. So having come from that, and also having worked with SFL Amateur League, which was a 100% online event, it kind of like dawned on me, like, okay, we have all these resources available. There should be a way, or you can actually make something really good or something interactive where even, yes, we might have netcode problems, we might have lag problems, we might have all these situations that would probably make would not make it the ideal experience, but people can adapt, and we should be able to create these experiences for other people so that we maintain our communities alive, or we create a whole new community by itself. And that's how NetCode Combat started happening.
Yeah, it can be a worthwhile experience. It's the thing that I've continually told people, is that if we're running online tournaments as long as I have been, is that like, it can be good, it can be fun, but there's really not been the effort to make them good. There's not a lot of communities, not a lot of there was never a big push to make them of quality. And you mentioned the SFL Amateur League, where that was an opportunity to really do something, but the ball was dropped on.
It was basically it was right there. They just had to do like a couple more things. It was so close.
There was a couple more steps they needed to take.
Dropped it. They stumbled at the line. They didn't quite make it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were involved pretty heavily in that. And I came.
Oh yeah.
I was like, I'm fresh to the country, got no friends, and she's like, well, come hang out with these people. So I did, and I'm like, well, I stream, and I've got like stupid amount of streamer gear. How about I come and we put it together? And that's just sort of how it sort of came together. I packed up my kit, went over to LPN's place for one of the tournaments, set up a really budged together stream rig and threw together a stream, and it went off. Everyone had a really good time. Everyone really enjoyed it. We had the casters coming through. We had the game. It was more of a production, more like you'd actually see in like an Overwatch tournament or something,
yes.
Right? We have the game playing, but then we also have a bunch of separate people sitting there commentate it. And it's all organized, and you've got some filler for in between. You got that back and forth.
Yeah.
So you're not just ending up with some guy being like that. Oh yeah, fuck you, I'm gonna kick the shit out of you. Get good. You're like, okay, that's cool.
Can I take a break just 1 minute and say how LPN has been killing the TikTok game? How he's just been the fire. Like, it's TikTok after TikTok. He's just.
Well, what else are you gonna do, right? Like, you're sitting there, you can't leave the house. You gotta go. You're either gonna go crazy or you're gonna go and do something productive. I feel like a bit of both is
exactly
coming out.
Fair enough. He's a good dude. He's a good dude.
He goes all right.
Also, expanding on what Morty said, it was actually really cool because he actually I wanted when I was approached to TO Team NorCal, I obviously thought of the stream as like something really important and crucial, because they just pretty much, I do appreciate the fact that SFL kind of like gave us free reign to do whatever we wanted. It was we had like one or two rules and that's it, and then the rest was up to the TOs. And the fact that they didn't force us in the beginning to like have a stream. They said, oh, we want to stream from this moment forward, and I was like, okay, this would be a really good this would be a really good way to like expose some of NorCal's players to the rest of the community, and have these matches so that they can actually review it. And then Mordakae jumped on that, and as something I would say that something that was important as well for this online community was, in the beginning, nobody really had a lot of idea of what SFL Amateur League was or what was the mission or anything. And an example, some of the TOs, we started making like this player card where we had our players with their mains, doing a lot of taking to Twitter, doing a lot of social media, these sort of things, so that people were actually engaged. Like, okay, I had not heard about this. What is going on? So I would say
to make it an esport was sitting right there, but there was just nothing pushing it over the line, or just going, you know what, we're actually going to take this on and give it the respect it deserves.
To be 100% clear, all of that effort and all of that work was on the part of each community.
Unpaid interns.
Yeah, it was each community leader.
The community leader, which, I mean, we call them interns, or do we call them like organizers? Like, what was your
slaves?
Can I legally ask you if SFL paid you money?
No, they didn't. Not at all.
Sick. Nasty. That's some nasty shit, man.
Fuck that. We've really noticed, right?
Fuck Super League. Fuck BP.
It's not even just that. It's like every community that I've seen, right? And particularly really strong with the gamer mentality is that they have this mentality that, oh, you should do it for the community. It's part of the community. It's like, honey, streamers and TOs, we aren't in that. We're not having fun doing this. You're the one playing a video game. We're putting it together so that you can have fun. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, and taking from that with my, with the time that I've been TOing, and he has, Mordakae has actually had the opportunity to see me TO. Like, I've had, especially like with Wednesday Night Fights, we'll have a couple of people that are like, oh, but why is the grid banned? And this is like a common like complaint right now. It's like, oh, why is the grid banned? And I'm like, okay, so we decided to follow CPT rules to make things a little bit more streamlined. Oh, but the grid is the least laggiest stage, and they'll like attack. Sometimes they'll attack you, and I just go straight to like, listen, I don't get paid for this. I do it because I enjoy what I do, and I don't get to play. I don't get to do anything. If you don't like it, I will gladly step back and you run it. And all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, this is great. We really appreciate it. So it's like
counterpoint to the grid stage specifically is that they did change the ruling in the last season for online events to include the grid, because people finally actually read the rules, even though it's been in there since 2016 or whatever the fuck. That has been altered.
Yep. The best
However,
is we're basing it on the WNF global decision, and they haven't updated theirs yet. So
like that's the thing. Like I know exactly what you are dealing with and what you're talking about. So like I'm not disparaging you or that decision at all. I'm just saying
bring back the grid.
I'm just making a counterpoint, throwing that shit right back in your face, because fuck you, TO, for doing your fucking job.
I mean, so we're actually, one of the things that, being a TO entails is to actually listen to player feedback. We've had about 50-50 feedback of maybe a little bit more about people that they're like, they don't care as long as they get to play. Because it's, first of all, it's free to enter. So it's like, it's up to you whether you want to be there or not, and if you want to agree to the rules. We're not taking any money from you. It's just, we're just there providing a service. But at the same time, we also listen to feedback and we change. For example, we had chosen in the first Wednesday Night Fights, the first week, to just do PS4. But there were a lot of people that did PC as well, and they wanted to participate. So we were like, you know what, let's allow crossplay. Some people have complained in the past that crossplay introduces more lag, but we were like, you know what, let's make it available to more people within the community, and that way, people were more satisfied and things have been happier. The same thing with the stages and the costumes. It's one of those day by day where we actually analyze it, we see how it runs, and we might make adjustments depending on whether it should be, it would make things easier or not. But let's face it, to be honest, I've seen plenty of laggy matches with the grid, and I've seen plenty of laggy matches with other stages. I've seen matches that are not as laggy with the grid, and I've seen stages like the India stage or like the King's Court. Yeah,
computer, PlayStation to PlayStation, crossplay. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna tell you a secret. All right, this is some pretty in deep secret stuff.
Oh no.
Software developers are really lazy people. All right. I will 100% guarantee you that there is functionally no difference. There's probably no difference. It's probably the same code in the netcode between both devices. It just has the thing that goes, oh, do this for PlayStation, do that for PC. That's the difference. So don't come at me and say, oh, crossplay, it's causing lag. No, what's causing lag is your shitty network and your PlayStation having a shit Wi-Fi card.
Part of that is true. I actually have quantifiable data to say that there is a difference.
That's what I was going to interject and say. I was going to say, you're inviting a bunch of comments being like, oh, this fucking noob, he does not know what he's talking about.
You're right.
See, like episode 150 or something.
Where we new network system just for this. That's what the developer's going to do. They might be like, yeah, sure, boss, that's what we did. Fuck, clone that shit.
Okay, just please bring the counterpoint, please. I'm just gonna sit back. I'm just gonna sit back and listen to this.
Happy to be wrong on this one.
I'm not gonna dig into it because there's literally an hour and a half episode of where we get into it.
I'm gonna check that
out with Loic, aka Weed on Twitter, where we talk about the differences between, well, what is happening on PS4 and why specific stages lag, and it's specifically the way that those stages load in and the way
No. Please, let me clarify. I didn't mention anything about the lag. I was explicitly talking about the netcode.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing is that the netcode is tied to the stages and the lag because of how it works. It's all kind of tied together in a very terrible way because Street Fighter V is actually coded awfully and
shocking!
It's tragic.
Please see my prior point about software developers being lazy.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Just we're gonna move on from this topic, but just at the very base level of my rebuttal is that due to some stage load-in can cause lag spikes at the beginning of it, specifically on PS4 where it doesn't load as fast, and therefore causes that particular system to its clock to be set different from the PC clock, and then it gets fucky. It gets fucky, okay? That's all you need to know is that shit gets fucky, okay?
All right, I'll buy it.
There's quantifiable data, all right? The data's out there, man. I seen the reports. I seen the
Morty likes data.
I seen the reports.
You should link him the episode. He likes data.
100%.
All right, I'll look it up.
I'm happy to be
it's there
proven wrong.
somewhere. My dog might bark at me. I've been playing. All right, I'm gonna do a little transition here.
Questions. We need to know about the puppy.
Yes, the puppy tax.
All right. Well, let me just lower my mic so he can bark here just for a minute. Hey, buddy. No. Wow. He didn't bark at that. Okay.
Best coworker.
So, here's the thing about what I just did, which no one can actually see this unless they watch the video archive. You guys didn't see it, so I have to reel it back for just a second. My wife, who works, she's an auditor for a big firm, whatever. It's a lot of people who spend a lot of time in the room and sometimes get bored. She bought a giant bag of those. You remember those sticky hands that are like gummy?
Was that with her stimulus check?
So no. She just got these for the office, but just bought like a pound bag of them. So it's this giant bag of sticky hands. So now that means that we now have like half a bag of sticky hands in our house.
Relationship goals.
Best purchase.
Because she's been working at home, she's like, yo, I just remembered that I found these, and then was just like, we're like throwing them at the ceiling, like smack. But the thing about it is that Brick, our dog, fucking hates them. He goes fucking berserk whenever they're like being gummy and being flung around. He's like, no. This is a sin against God and man. It's against all laws that I know as a dog.
Unacceptable.
Yeah, delete. He goes fucking wild, and I was just wiggling it about a minute ago.
We found a new game.
And he did not bark. Anyway, so you both have planned. Is there anyone else involved in this process? What's the team like for NetCode Combat? Transitions.
It's pretty much 2 people. It's a 2-person team right now.
Okay. And that's a doable thing when you're working with online tournaments. It's not wild to work with a small amount of people. Are you hiring out like commentators? What's your situation there?
Oh
we have
yeah,
commentators that just sort of come by and they enjoy doing it. We'd like to be able to swing them some cash, but at the moment we don't have sponsors. We're not really sitting here money grubbing. We take donations, but that's really more to put back into the prize pools and things for any of the tournaments we want to run. We do have some merch, but we're not exactly selling out every day. It's really just there just for a little bit extra money that comes through, and anything that does come through we'd like to be able to give back to the casters and grow future prize pools. That's really the motivator here. It's not so much about,
even if it's just a little bit, we definitely would like to run with the motto of at least getting a little bit to give back to the people that are working with us. Like I would say probably a good example would be what they did for Evo last year. They paid you, you ran a bracket for an hour and they paid you $20, plus they gave you like other little perks. Definitely it's not going to be a lot of money, but at least it sort of compensates you for your time instead of just like getting a pat on the shoulder like haha good job. I know being a TO, I know that kind of sucks sometimes. You definitely do it for the love of the community, don't get me wrong. It's there. You really the people you meet, the connections you make, everything makes it really worthwhile. But at the same time, I can actually give you an example. Like I know I'm right now still a full-time employee, and and even when I've been working with these communities, I've been a full-time employee. I work in healthcare, particularly the biotech sector. So it can be a very demanding job. Plus, say for example, I live about an hour, I would say an hour and a half from ESA Oakland, like Esports Arena Oakland. So whenever I would have to go to do my TO business, I would go from work, drive about an hour to ESA, prep everything, make sure my consoles were ready, organize, seed your brackets, be there for like 4 or 5 hours, then head over like an hour and a half back to my place to sleep 4 hours tops, and then, rinse, repeat, wake up in the morning early and go do your thing. So it kind of like, yes, we do it for the love, but also like maybe some gas money or something would help, if you think about it that way.
Every story I've heard about from anyone who has worked anything Wednesday Night Fight related is that everyone's sleep schedule is fucked up beyond all recognition.
Oh, Lord. On average, definitely on average, after the night of Wednesday Night Fights, I sleep, the most I've ever slept is 4 hours.
Why I'm just a stream monkey. Second I hit disconnect, I'm to bed. Done.
Hit the disconnect, you fuck off. Hey man, I'm
not gonna. Thank you, good night. Bye.
Thank you and good night. Bye. I'm out the door. No, it's just one of the. You chose Wednesday of all the days, so like right in the middle of your week, you're like, what if on a hump
day? It doesn't suck enough? Weekdays. Weekdays don't suck enough. We got to amp that. We got to crank it.
Yeah, when we're at like the height of our work week, and it's just it's all downhill from Wednesday. What if on Wednesday we just decided to fuck ourselves up real hardcore?
Yeah, but you'd be surprised the amount of people from the community that actually that's the day that works for them. If you ask them, Wednesday is like the perfect day for them.
I think actually the biggest, like what you mentioned there is like the biggest complaint of like, yeah, it's Wednesday. Why would you want to make that suck more? But that logic is what has freed up the weeks for these people. So they're more than happy to get in on it. No one does anything on a Wednesday. Yes, that's why we're doing it then. People will come.
That's fair. That's fair. That's why just never do it on a Tuesday. There's actually a reason to not do it on a Tuesday. because of like Steam updates happen on Tuesdays, Street Fighter V updates
Server
on
updates,
Tuesdays.
yep.
Yeah, the things, software updates just happen to happen on Tuesday, but also it goes along with the meme to just avoid Tuesdays if you can.
Yeah, we actually one of the adding to that, like on SFL Amateur, we used to do it on Tuesdays, and one of the weeks we had to actually take a week off because they were, Street Fighter V, the new update was going to drop. So yeah, that set us back a little bit. Good thing, like they planned it with enough wiggle room to accommodate like a week or two. So. But yeah, I was like, oh God, no. Like we kind of knew it was going to happen, but it was funny.
I'm just shaking my head of like every single misstep that the SFL had. And everyone that I've talked to has been a part of it is just like, it was right there. It was right there for the taking. It's just a little bit of effort, maybe a little bit of resources put into it. Could have made it something really special.
To be fair, like I was honestly happy and grateful for the opportunity, like to have been approached by Jabali, and for the fact that they included NorCal. I was really happy. I was really happy about it because NorCal has traditionally been a very active scene within the FGC. As I mentioned before, I'm actually from Puerto Rico. So I came here, I moved to California in 2017. And this is when it was during a period where NorCal scene was kind of like dying or in a coma, more to say. Like they had the Foundry events, the Churning Butter, they had a Pandora House, they have a couple of things, and they all of a sudden it started, dying down for X or Y reason. I'm not 100% familiar with the lore. I can't claim to be familiar with the lore because I'm not from here, but I've heard the stories and everything. So coming to that, and Wednesday Night Fight Oakland provided an opportunity for NorCal to start I would say growing its scene once more. So then you definitely have some local events, like you had Red Bull Conquest and everything, but there was a period of time where we really didn't have like quite a few months. So to be approached by SFL Amateur League, and we had this opportunity to highlight some of these really good not pro players from NorCal. So the players were all for it. Let me tell you, like for the qualifiers, players showed up. We had up to 42 players, just like hacking it out and trying to get those spots. That was really good. Obviously, they got the opportunity to play with other like solid amateurs from Las Vegas, from SoCal, from the other one from Atlanta, from all these other teams.
Toronto, Ohio.
Yeah, Toronto, Ohio, Texas, Houston. They were, and it was a really good experience. I am grateful that we had that. Yes, maybe there were like ways that I guess maybe that moving forward there could have been a few things that could have changed, but overall that experience was actually good. I guess from that is like the thinking of, hey, online could be a thing. It's just probably organizing it a bit better, maybe understanding more like how to run things or how to use these sort of like setbacks to your advantage.
I think that's a good jumping off point, because having done that, you've seen what needs to be done in order to run an online circuit, I suppose. I guess that's the next question is what's like the goal of NetCode Combat? Are you guys looking to run some kind of circuit or regionals, or where are you planting your flag with NetCode Combat?
So to be honest, right now we are testing the waters to see what people really want. We definitely think this is viable on a serious competitor. Has said, like, for example, make an amateur bracket or make an open bracket or a pro bracket. We can definitely see the opportunity in that, but we also would like to try things that you don't really get to see very often. You do see teams. An example, we know how popular team tournaments are usually in these events, but maybe like some. We would like to say some for fun events, like I can mention something right off the bat that we're thinking about. We were considering a
caster combat challenge.
Yeah, we were considering a cast your battle combat where we would actually stream like every fight, and you would have to, while you're competing, you would have to cast your own event. So things where like it can actually, it's a different test of strength. Like, when people get really focused, sometimes they're really quiet, but how about can you still be good while focusing, doing two things at the same time? You're casting and at the same time you're playing. And these sort of things, things that can be a little fun, maybe like tag team, for example, halfway through the match, you have to your partner has to like play a character that maybe they're not really good at, or they're not used to it because you chose the character. I think these sort of things would also be pretty beneficial and fun for the players. Like, we can be serious, but we're also trying to aim at just having a good time and people making money with it.
A lot of the tournaments we see people get really, really into, and it's like, guys, it is still just a game. Like, you are a community, have fun with each other. And I think that's sort of missing in a lot of the online stuff. Like, I see most online that comes together, it's really just for tournaments when there's no other mechanism to do it. And it'd be really cool to bring it in and make it a fun thing that, people can make a couple bucks. Hell, maybe if we can get a big enough prize pool, win a couple thousand, whatever. But something that is by the community for the community.
Hold on. I need.
Look,
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm sorry. Just like the mere idea of winning multiple thousands of dollars in an online tournament, it just like it hit a bone in my fighting game body that was just like, lol. Okay, I know that can be a reality. It's just there's a part of me that's like, no, we're not there yet. We're not at multiple thousands of dollars yet. But I appreciate the aspiration.
Oh, look, it's 100% doable. I mean, all it takes is one tech nerd with too much money and wants to see how bloody cutthroat you guys are going to get.
You brought up a good point earlier that I think isn't really talked about in online tournament spaces yet, is that even though there are these online tournaments and it is similar, like this is the community that you guys are running, it can be a lonely experience because you are home alone versus being at an event with people around you and having that discussion. But miking people up and like having like team tournaments where teams can are encouraged to speak to each other during the event makes it so that it becomes a less lonely experience, more of a, you hear it's more community based that way.
Exactly.
When you bring people together, specifically vocally, that's like a key element that is somewhat missing from online events.
It's almost like the fighting game community is the only community that hasn't been brought together by the internet.
Well, man, I just got it's just like getting really sad of like knowing how the games used to be and then looking at Street Fighter V specifically and there being like zero in-game communication whatsoever. And it's just like, beans, what are we doing?
NetCode Combat for the win. So these are definitely some of the things that we want to work with, because right. you can definitely still build, like, you have all these tools that you can still build a good community and still have that sense of communication amongst players. Like, yes, face to face, not gonna lie, as an extrovert, face to face is fantastic. I do love interacting with people, but if I can't, or maybe say, for example, I'm at the other side of the globe, what stops me from still making these online connections and learning from them and teaming up with that sort of thing? If you think about it, and I can probably give you an example from MOBAs, when I started, I played League of Legends for a couple of years, like before I moved to California, and there would be moments where even when we were not playing, we would just log on Discord to hear other people play their matches, to sort of like backseat coach. You know how the FGC loves to like be behind you and be like, that does not cancel, or you should not, no, don't do that wake up DP or something like that. They love to like backseat coach. So we would still kind of do that, but on a Discord level, and we could still establish long-term friendships and still be able to share tech. But I know that there's Discord groups for specific characters and things like that, but to do that on an actual gaming, like an actual gaming event, you don't really get to see it that often on an online platform. And that's definitely something we would want to aspire to.
Yeah, I think that team tournaments or group battles tend to solve that problem. I've actually had the crazy idea of, what if we forced as many people into audible chat room into one chat, mass chat room. Yeah, like let's just put the entirety of the Twitch chat. What if Twitch chat, you could hear everyone speaking at the same time? What if that? That's a bad idea, to be clear.
Look, you say it's a bad idea, but I know how I can make that work.
It's a bad idea unless
it's an awful idea. It's the worst idea. It's
and I'm here for it.
Sea of N-words and inappropriate comments, but people suck, and I think it'd be hilarious. I'm here for it.
Dear God, no, that's a terrible idea.
Oh, you've done this. You planted this seed. This is on you.
Fair enough.
We can give him a shout out once it happens. We're gonna be like, hey, this would not be possible without, and we're very
this
grateful.
Heated gamer moment brought to you by Joe Monday. Don't you forget it. If you're gonna look for blood, his is the one you want to spill anyway. Our Twitch channel has been banned again.
Whoops.
All
you have
banned.
No one to blame but yourself for that one, don't you?
Christ. But it seems like you both have a good, at least the effort, the idea of the effort is there, and it seems that you're both fluid in the ways that you're approaching these online tournaments, and I think that's something worth checking out. Well, are you locking any regions currently? If someone were to go look at NetCode Combat and say, I want to enter, is it region based right now? What are you doing right now?
So at the moment, we haven't really set up our first tournament. We've just been sort of testing the waters with the Wednesday night fight stuff. Okay. I'm personally of the opinion that it could be utterly hilarious to try to watch people play at 2.5 second delay for about 5 minutes. After that, it's going to be real dull. But I mean, if people from overseas did want to play, I'd be more than happy to start reaching out to them and be like, hey, if you can get some people, we'll cast it, we'll do the TO, but you got to get the people for your area. And then maybe, we'll do a winner from all regions and put it all together. It's on the internet. There's no reason we have to separate it. The only thing that's going to get in the way is people's willingness to play under really terrible circumstances, which is kind of the point, right? We want, for anything that we're going to do, really embrace the NetCode Combat thing, is that it doesn't matter how bad the ping is, how bad the lag is. If you're the best in the world, you should be able to adapt to that, right? And you're here to step up and actually adapt. I know that's making every FGC person out there cringe and their skin crawl.
I'm currently gnashing my teeth.
Yeah, but how's this? If you can come up against me and I beat you because of lag, that made me better that game, didn't it? Really, you should have been able to beat me. I'm trash. I can hear that silence. It's just them sitting there being like, I want to punch this guy. I want to punch him.
So this is the difference between being in the FGC versus newcomer. No.
That's a hard no.
I come from Australia.
So,
okay?
No.
This is something you guys don't get over here. I come from Australia. Good ping in Australia, 90 to 150 ms. That's good.
Darling, I come from Puerto Rico.
Bracket.
You should listen to the complaints about how internet runs in Puerto Rico. So, and especially after Hurricane Maria, it just went from bad to worse.
Oh,
so
no doubt.
I am very familiar with internet issues, and but I am of the school that to start, I would probably like to try something regional, say for example West Coast, East Coast, South. I would like to try to separate, see how it goes, and then start integrating. I find that being being extremely ambitious from the get-go, it might just say, for example, you do the first thing,
quick and kill yourself.
yeah, like you know the analogy of like putting the frog in water, and if you put it in boiling water, it'll like jump up immediately, whereas if you start like going slowly at adjusting the heat, it'll pretty much just stay there. So I feel like sometimes you have to take baby steps and go a little violent.
NetCode Combat does not endorse boiling frogs.
Yes, we don't endorse animal violence, but we do endorse online video game violence, lots of it. But definitely, if I would like to start a bit more regional, which is why trying it out on Wednesday Night Fights Oakland, which is limited to just NorCal, gives us a great opportunity to see how it runs and how often these issues appear, and then we can expand it from there.
Right on. You brought up something that I think, I don't know, just like an interesting thing of streaming and broadcasting like matches in Australia, but from your current location.
Yeah.
You could do that. You wouldn't, it would be just Australian people playing each other, but then being broadcast from wherever. You could do that.
We just need to come in as a spectator. I don't need to see your game live. I can be watching it, 5-second delayed. It's not a problem. We're just casting it.
The issue with that is that the way that the delay works, specifically in Street Fighter V, not in other fighting games. Well, other fighting games have other problems with this, but with Street Fighter V, what's gonna happen is that you'll see whatever the delay is from you to Australia, you'll be on like that much more of a delay to the start of the match for things to get started. So then you'll miss maybe 2 rounds, maybe 3 rounds at that point. If you're from California to Australia, like you'll just miss it. You won't be able to see it until your ping catches up with them. It's kind of like inside tech talk about how Street Fighter V works and is broken. But anyway.
Well, it's pretty much the reason why, at least, like for example, in the mobile community, you have different regions, and right. It's kind of really it happened, for example, in Puerto Rico. Like Puerto Rico was considered Latin America North. We could also play in NA, but you definitely had some significant like ping issues if you were playing for NA versus if you were playing in Latin America North.
Yeah, and it's like you have run Wednesday Night Fights online for how many weeks now, but you've probably already noticed how sometimes in spectator mode, when you at the start of a round, things will go like super duper fast. It'd be like Dragon Ball Z, like it'll speed through the first round, just because your connection to whatever the 2 players is, and for whatever reason, it's like unavoidable. But then extrapolate that to wherever else you want to stream to or broadcast. But no, I like it.
That through what we've been doing.
Have you not?
But no, not at all. I think at most maybe there was one instance of a bit of catch up, but that was because one of the players was on
Wi-Fi,
really bad Wi-Fi. But it could also be that I've got an absolute monster rig and overpay for internet. That's a distinct possibility.
Oh, that might be.
It's worth investigating. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, I'll throw it away as a flippant remark, but I'll find a way to do it. I'm pretty persistent.
So if there's something that I've learned from working with him is he'll get it done. Like, give him a challenge and he'll do it. This is why we teamed up. Like, I am the social media person. I am like let's just like get into, I'm already in the community. Like, let's meet up, people. Let's network. Let's do this. Let's do that. I have the ideas. And he's the tech monster. And
you're the face.
Works.
He's the guts. I like it.
That's accurate.
I like it. You guys seem like a fantastic team, and I'm looking forward to whatever you have coming down the pipeline for NetCode Combat. And all of the links to all of the social media and stuff will be in the show notes, so wherever you are listening to this episode, look there. I don't know if it's down below or to the right or whatever.
Wherever the links may be, please click them.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. Before we kind of move on to the end of the episode, though, is there anything else you guys want to talk about or want to cover before we shut the lights off here?
I don't have anything. I mean,
I think we pretty much, yeah, we definitely pretty much.
Segued enough throughout the episode. Don't really have anything to wrap back around to now, is it?
I think we've covered little by little everything that we're just trying to work on, and at the same time, we've just added a little bit of banter here and there. I guess I would definitely say that I'm definitely grateful to the FTC community for giving us this opportunity to work with to actually develop this whole like online concept. Having been exposed to it kind of like makes you want to do something for it, I would say. Also, like having enough free time right now, quote unquote free time.
Yeah.
It's strange times, but
it is strange. Right? Like I was furloughed. I don't have a job right now, and I'm still really fucking busy. Like,
I mean, and right now we have two different circumstances. Morty is 100% work from home, and you know he's fully employed, being in tech. I am an essential worker that has the weirdest hybrid situation where I am half of my time is spent work from home, half of my time is actually spent on site, and my hours were like a teeny tiny bit reduced. So it's like it's different circumstances, but we still managed to find some time to actually work on this project. So
that's so it's weird times, man. It's like it's hard for everybody. So like
it definitely is. This whole like being an essential employee is like, oh my god, I wish I would get some hazard pay or something.
Yeah, that's like the fucked up thing. Can I make an aside right now? I'm gonna make an aside.
Go for it.
I have been. Go ahead.
Just me. It's like me being kind of upset at. I don't like empty platitudes. I'm not happy about that stuff because I hear a lot of people like thanking their like grocery store workers, right? And it's like I don't. All right. Okay, let's back this up, right?
Yeah, go. I just really want to hear this. You know, I'm dying to hear this, and I don't mean it in a bad way. It's just like I love it when people have a strong opinion about it.
We fully agree with you on this one.
Yes.
It's like, yeah, thank them. Great, maybe pay them a living wage. Just a thought, throw it out there.
Exactly.
They're not. I think like elevating them to the point of they're heroes for working is also separating yourself in a weird way from they're like as if they're doing this out of. Like,
it's like we don't fucking. First of all, we don't fucking
honor?
care. No, we just want to eat. First of all, you know, we want to eat. We, you know, maybe we had some skills that put us in. At least for me, like I'm good in healthcare, so I studied, you know, something related to healthcare. If you would ask me, I would much rather work from home during this situation, especially having the knowledge of what this virus is doing and can do. I can give you some information. I personally work with saliva samples. One of my samples is saliva samples. You know what that means, right? If somebody sends a saliva sample and they don't know they have COVID-19, say I uncap the sample, I am already releasing aerosols into the environment, and I am putting myself at a risk simply because somebody needs a test done. And I thankful. Yeah, you can clap. That's totally fine. There's people that are probably more in the line of fire than I am. Great. I'm pretty sure they appreciate the claps, but fuck, man. Yeah, let them eat. Let them be with their families. It sucks, honestly.
You're just trying to get paid. You're doing what you have to do to live. Like, it's not some superhero stuff. And the end of it is that I'm going to thank everyone by voting in a way or calling my representatives in a way to support people that are in those positions. Maybe make them, like you said, get paid a living wage.
Look, I mean, coming from a country where we have, socialized healthcare and a minimum wage that doesn't suck and guaranteed retirement contributions, it can be done. It's possible.
Yeah, that's like the other crazy fucking thing, right?
Was a culture shock when he said, "Oh, one of the things I found out about Australia is that apparently your job has a mandatory 9.5% contribution to your retirement."
Every employer has to pay 9.5% on top of your salary into your retirement fund.
And the thing is, like,
you cannot touch that until you retire.
And the thing is, if you think about it, most places, if they offer 401ks, they're not. It's not mandatory for them to match anything. So what you're putting in there is pretty much money.
That's not a match at all. They have to put that in without you putting in anything from your wage. Some companies do offer a matching on top of that. Like, straight up.
Wait.
Here's the thing.
That's pretty much like Social Security, because they have to put in a percent of your. They have to put a percent.
Except it's for you, not everyone else. It's like, if I'm earning $100,000.
It's funny that Aura is like, we are so broken to think that, we're also paying a 9%, and then they're adding a 9% to match our 9%, right?
Yeah, no.
What he's saying is, no, that just happens. Like,
right?
Mandatory.
You're taken care of.
And then the minimum wage is something like significantly higher. I'm not going to say anything because that might just piss people off, but legit, go out and Google it. The numbers will make you sad.
And also,
I was so outraged.
Your healthcare isn't tied to being employed.
You get healthcare regardless if you're in the country. Even if you're a foreign national, you come over, you will get healthcare. You might have to pay a little bit more for it, but it is still subsidized. Like, we look after people, and it's one of those things. If I may segue from gaming entirely, because it's one of those things that really tweaks me.
Sure. Fuck, go. Here's the thing. It's not really
support capitalism, right? Like, I want people to be able to make money. No, hear me out, right? Okay. Capitalism, in its most efficient sense, is not funneling all the money up to the people at the top. Because if you don't have a workforce, you ain't making money. So keep your workers healthy, you make more money. Give money to poor people spend money goes to rich people. The cycle continues. Fuck.
In other words, fuck trickle-down economics. They don't work.
Yeah, like you just said, I like capitalism, and then described the antithesis of what
capitalism is. I want to make
stage
money.
Capitalism we have.
No, you guys have gone beyond capitalism, and you're on like borderline cannibalism, right? You've just taken it that one step further, and I'm fine with it. Sure, eat people, whatever. I mean, I'll give it a taste, but maybe you can think about more than this year's budget and be like, you know what? If I kept more people alive, that's more people to buy my shit. Like, fuck, maybe there's an idea.
Instead of being like, oh no, these employees are expendable. It's just at what cost they're expendable. And all right, so let's spin out of this terrible to the point of all I wanted to say is that these things are not separate from gaming in a way that at least the FGC has seen, that events were closed. People are sick in our community. It is hard for them to be taken care of.
People have died in the community.
Yeah, and I have personally put into one too many GoFundMe's. If I've helped with one, I've put into one too many of people who need that money to fucking live. Is a problem that we should address as a community, or at least be cognizant of, instead of, and it's something that we should all be thinking about instead of.
Look, this is one of the greatest countries on the planet by
get your fighting game. Get your instead of. Right? I just want to say, instead of getting your politics out of my fighting games. That's all I want to say. That, and I think if we're gonna eat people, then like.
We should season them with. I think that if we're going to eat people, we should season them with a little bit more than salt and pepper. This country needs more spices. They should learn.
If we're going to eat people, I think that like Paula Deen would be like, that's my number one. If I'm
going
to
go Wagyu beef. She's got like a nice fatty bit that if you put it in the grill, it's gonna butter. Like.
It's just butter.
Yeah. And here the vegetarian in the room is like, ugh.
Now, trust me, Paula Deen is like some choice grade A human steak that I want to slice up and throw that, like, get like a cast iron skillet and just let that like marinate in its own fat. Oh my
with a bit of like I'm probably gonna mispronounce this, Worcestershire sauce or something like that.
Worcestershire. You could say Worcester, I think.
So the thing is, like, English is not my first language right off the bat, so I'm like, how do I pronounce it? I tilted a little bit, but that and some nice like a sprig of rosemary and some like 2 or 3 like just smashed cloves of garlic.
Oh my god, I would eat the fuck out of Paula Deen. Oh my god,
dude, share some of that. There's that's enough.
There's so much. so much to go around. And then on top, added bonus, like she's also kind of a racist. So like bonus, she like that's just scrumptious.
Right. I can, as a representative for the Hispanic community, I can totally eat that up and be like, I feel so satisfied with this country right now.
Delicious.
I didn't even know who that was. I just Googled it, and like, that is painfully white.
says the white Australian. I
am white, but that's the kind of white where you'd be like, damn, you white. Like,
fucking white people. Am I right? Am I right?
Like,
I feel like that's not even like talking about a color anymore. That is like the essence of white. Like, if you boiled white,
that's white extract.
I'm gonna have a flank steak of paladine with an amuse bouche of white.
Talk about that white sauce, yeah.
Would that be the kind of steak that you would do the exception, and instead of red wine, you'd use white?
Oh fuck! It's a Riesling. God damn it! All right,
Street mayo, fuck that shit up.
We need to end this episode before I say anything more. Just so we're all clear here, by saying the things we've said into these microphones, we're definitely on a list somewhere.
Hi FBI.
I mean,
just by my last name, just by using my last name, I'm in some list already, so I'm fine.
Held up by border security. That was a thing.
All right. Yeah.
I mean, you should not fly anytime soon.
We are going to need to check your bags. You are going to see, because we heard what you're going to do to Paula Deen, and we know that she would be delicious. The government knows that Paula Deen would be delicious. We have her on our own list of people that we want to eat because we're the government. But you can't say that out loud. You can't say the soft parts out. Okay, I'm ending the show. I'm executive decision.
For hours. We don't need this.
I've sharpened up my kitchen knife. I've honed the edge, and I am ready to cut through Paula Deen's
I'm about to make dinner, and I just have ideas now.
Yeah, it's got a freezer full of Paula Deen. Oh goddamn!
Real men eat booty.
Gotta go Hannibal Lecter on that.
Before, with the nice Chianti. Yeah. Which, all right. So, side note, by the way, I need to talk about that moment in that movie for just a minute, because that line is specifically accurate in terms of what it says about what he's doing. So that particular choice of food and specific wine counteracts the medicine that he was supposed to be on at the time that they mentioned earlier in the movie. So him saying those specific items is, I'm off my meds, motherfucker. And also, I'm eating people. What's good?
Yep, delicious.
Anyway, that's a great movie. Go watch Silence of the Lambs. It's fantastic.
Also, if you haven't already, check out the Hannibal series on like Amazon Prime.
Oh my god, that is the
art.
Oh, that's the oh man, it's so fucking sexy. God damn.
I feel like there's some sort of like bromance brooding right now. I feel like you guys are gonna exchange contacts and be like, "Bro, did you check this out, bro? That's amazing."
No, it's right. Have you seen Mads Mikkelsen as Hannibal Lecter? Is like,
I feel like you're gonna forgive all of his newbie FGC transgressions just for this.
Fuck about being forgiven by the FGC. I'm not in it. I'm a first-person shooter player. Fuck off.
It's real good. It's real sexy, and I would recommend it to anybody. But again, I need to. Like 10 minutes ago, I said I was going to end the show, and here we are. But we need to actually.
With us.
I need to.
Mate, we get you talking.
I'm stuck in this loop. I have to ask you guys some questions before I let you go.
Sure.
And it's a line of questioning that I ask everybody. That I think that the way that you answer it can tell a lot about the person and who you are. So, Aura, I'm going to start with you. Comes in two parts. The first part of the question is, what is your favorite normal attack in any fighting game?
Oh God. So the fighting game that I've played the most is Street Fighter 2 World Warrior. Okay. It was the first, besides the Super Mario World, it was the first game that I ever got on my SNES. And my favorite was the Chun-Li air diagonal light kick, and it was pretty much because when you're starting out, or when you had somebody that had played the game for a while, no matter they would always try to jump, and you could punish it. That was the easiest thing to punish. You could do it with the medium kick as well, but the medium kick was a little bit slower. Obviously, took a little bit more, but it wasn't as efficient as leg kick.
No, I like it. You liked it because it was cheap.
Oh yeah, cheap as hell.
You caught people doing the bullshit. I like it.
Of course, it's like you're gonna try to jump in on me, bitch. No,
thank you. No. To that end, then, what is your favorite combo in any fighting game and why?
Oh, it's not a particular combo, but can we not forget the Street Fighter 4 Chun-Li legs loop combos?
Yeah, it's real good.
Those, any video that you watch, it's just like there were so many variations of it. It's so many ways that you could piano that if you press the right button or the right amount of buttons. For the legs, you could actually just fall into a loop. It was just brilliant to watch. I find that it was kind of like hard to execute on a player, on like an actual player level. But if you, besides like out of the training stage, but if you could actually do it, that was just brilliant to watch.
Right, because it's like you had to start the combo in a specific way because you needed to be at a specific range.
And if you press like one too many kick buttons, then you would actually break that loop. So it was just really fascinating to see it, and like how people would do it with the charge moves and everything. So it was pretty good. Cool. I would say that's my favorite. Cool,
leg loops. I like it. I guess then the line of questioning goes to you, Mordakae. Morty. We call him Morty. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, it's easier that way.
Am I Morty level? All right.
We's at that level.
Fair enough. Then what is your favorite fighting attack in any fighting game?
Whichever one hits him. Like, honestly, that's about as deep as I go on this.
All right, you know what? Let me change this question in a way that maybe suits your specific skill set. What is your favorite gun in any first-person shooter?
Oh, now we're talking. I am a shotgun fan predominantly. I tend to play really aggressively and push pretty hard. So Left 4 Dead was my game of choice, I would just become a bulldozer no matter how shit things went. Shotgun katana, push forward, murder everything. That was my job.
Go in. Okay, so you're a fan of the shotgun. I like it. Of just like getting in there, I'm juggernaut bitch. Just
basically. Like Call of Duty SMGs.
Like it. Then what is your favorite stage in any first-person shooter? We'll go that way.
Oh, all right. No, that's actually a really easy one. I have very fond memories of what was it? Parish 2. That's my favorite in Left 4 Dead 2. It's the second stage of the Parish map, and it just had these really, really good areas of the map where if you coordinated with your team properly, you could pretty much team wipe every single time, and it was really satisfying.
Nice. I like it. Yeah. I like that you had answers like, because this was not written down, this was not scheduled, it was just, you had those in your back pocket, and I appreciate that. All right. Well, that is a show, folks. Friends and enemies, thank you for listening to another edition of RSF Radio. But before we go, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter, twitter.com/AuraMistress. You can also find me in Instagram, AuraMistress. And you can find me in Twitch, but I'm kind of like, I don't stream. I'm always busy, but that's definitely where you can find me. And also you can find me at the NetCode Combat. Twitter is NetCode Combat, Twitch is NetCode Combat, and Facebook, NetCode Combat.
And Morty, where can people find you on the internet?
I am at Mordakae everywhere. Twitch, Facebook, Instagram, all the things. If I've said anything that pissed you off today, come at me. I need the engagement.
He will, no. Like, for real. He will totally enjoy it.
All right, and I will link that other show in the to you after we're done with this, so you can give it a listen to that. All right, that is a show. Again, thank you for listening. This has been another edition of RSF Radio. Don't forget about our tournaments on Mondays on the East Coast, Fridays on the West Coast. But until next time, take care. Peace.